presented by Seat77.com. As always, Dave Dabbah is coming to you live from the Super Plus Seat 77 broadcast studio in the heart of Silicon Valley. Now, Dave Dabbah.
North America, good afternoon. I am Dave Dabbah, and this is the Dave Dabbah Big Show YouTube channel edition. Oh boy, have we got a huge Tuesday show for you. Here's what we have for you today. We've got my NBA mock draft. We've got Kevin Durant in the news. Will he be a Warrior or not? LeBron James is in the news because he wants to be in the news yet again. We relive the 1987 AFC Championship game through the eyes of Ernest Biner. And will anybody tune into tonight's Argentina-USA soccer match? All of that and more on today's Super Big Show. Okay, North America, info at seat77.com. Send us your email and we will read it on the air or leave a note on the YouTube channel. Also, we are available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, The Sound of Cloud, Spreaker, and of course, our big iTunes channel is blowing up. So thank you for all of your support there.
And now, North America, it's time for exclusive coverage of the National Basketball Association, the league that Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Air Jordan saved for Shaq, Kobe, and LeBron James. Presented by Seat77.com. And now, back to the Dave Dabbah Big Show.
Okay, North America, it is time to talk about the National Basketball Association. And we are about 48 hours away since the Golden State Warriors blew it at home at Oracle for Game 7 as the Cleveland Cavaliers just flat out stole the trophy and hijacked a plane and flew it back to Cleveland. And of course, they stopped off in Vegas for a party, which is what you should do. So I went back last night and I couldn't help myself. I had to do this. I went back and I watched the fourth quarter of the game. And I have to say this, man, talk about missed opportunities. I was actually going to sit there and count all of the missed opportunities that the Warriors had. And I decided, once I got into double digits, it wasn't worth it. I have to tell you, this game was so close that we could easily be sitting here today discussing the Golden State Warriors as one of the greatest basketball teams of all time. Instead, we get to hear LeBron James go out on rants. And if you haven't had a chance to check this out, you have to do it. Find the Instagram post that LeBron James put out earlier today. Now, of course, he didn't use Twitter because, 142 characters. It's just not enough to say what LeBron had to say. So he goes on and he talks about basically all the people that ripped him for going to Cleveland in the first place. Look, LeBron, you left Miami to go back to Cleveland after you won 2 championships. I mean, what are they supposed to do other than the people in Cleveland? Everybody else around the world thought you were nuts. And sure, you ended up, living by what you said you were going to do, which you said you were going to bring a trophy back to Cleveland, and you've done it. I mean, all the credit goes to you and your team. But stop it. Just stop it. Don't tell everybody and rip on everybody who ripped on you. It's not worth it. Here's what you do, LeBron. Just post a picture of you and the trophy and say thanks to all the fans for all the support. We don't care. None of us care, LeBron. It's unbelievable. Anyways, so tomorrow's the big parade in Cleveland. And I'm sure they'll have, like a million plus people show up for it. So it will be good to see. I was telling one of my kids this last night, and I said, wouldn't it be great if Kevin Love's on the float, in the parade, in the actual championship parade, and the news breaks that Kevin Love has been traded to the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, wouldn't that be great? Hey, Kev, I think you should check your Twitter account. It'd just be fantastic. I would love to see something like that happen to Kevin Love tomorrow. But I got to tell you, watching the video back, fourth quarter, very impressed. 14 rebounds in the game for Kevin Love. Fantastic. Now, elsewhere around the National Basketball Association, and before we get into the big mock draft, I thought we'd start with Ben Simmons, who, okay, of course I'm putting him number one in the mock draft, right? So Ben Simmons finally decides to actually show up in Philly for an actual workout. So now, if you hadn't heard the story, he'd been refusing to actually go work out for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I look at this Philadelphia Sixers team, and I think of the Los Angeles Clippers from the 80s, 90s, and most of the 2000s. They are like the East Coast Clippers in Philadelphia. That is how bad this organization is from top to bottom. So I don't blame Ben Simmons for not wanting to have to go to Philadelphia. But basically what happened was he was posturing with his agent because they want to see some of the other garbage on that team moved out, and specifically Okafor, who most likely will end up in Boston. Somebody's going to end up in Boston in the next 2 days. Anyway, so most likely will end up in Boston. So Simmons got some sort of assurance that something would happen and decided to actually go do what can best be described as a light workout. Okay, so this, I don't know this for sure, but this is how I think the workout went. Ben Simmons shows up. He's in his sweats. I guarantee he doesn't even get into shorts. He stays in his Lululemons and he does his workout. I'm thinking it's one left-hand layup, two right-hand layups, maybe two mid-range jump shots, and just for the hell of it, a three-pointer, which of course he breaks. And that was it. I guarantee it was less than 10 shots for that light workout. And of course, the Philly organization being the 76er organization, it's basically the same organization, the baseball team and the basketball team. The 76er organization does what the 76er organization does by announcing, he hadn't even left the building yet. They leaked that Ben Simmons, dramatic drum roll, please. It's unbelievable that Ben Simmons would indeed be their number one pick for this upcoming draft. It is absolutely an unbelievable story, if you ask me. Okay, so I wanted to get into the my mock draft for you super quick. We're just going to do the top 5 because after that, who knows, right? I'm telling you, there are like 40 players after the top 5, and they could go anywhere, absolutely anywhere. So anyways, we already said Ben Simmons is going to Philly. My Los Angeles Lakers are going to take Brandon Ingram. And I kind of wish that the Lakers had a chance to draft a little bit later, like in the 3rd or 4th position, because I am not sold on Brandon Ingram yet. That being said, they will take him at 2. Okay, so then things get interesting at 3 as the Boston Celtics, I don't know, they have like 7, 8, 9 picks in this year's draft. They do. Check it out. It's unbelievable. They could actually field a whole second Boston Celtic team. They could be the BC2, the BC2 team. That's how many players they could theoretically draft if they don't make some trades heading into Thursday night's draft. Anyways, so the rumor, and I looked at a bunch of other people's mock drafts, took a look around, and I cannot believe how many people call themselves experts who have Chris Dunn, the point guard out of Providence, going to Boston. Are you kidding me? What does Isaiah Thomas Jr. do there? I'm just saying. And by the way, if Isaiah Thomas Jr. is the best player on your team, you're in real trouble. And a lot of respect to Danny Ainge and the coaching staff in Boston for getting as much out of the talent that they are getting. And I got to tell you, Isaiah Thomas Jr. is the best player on that team right now. They've got to find 2 or 3 other really good players who can complement and even be better than Isaiah Thomas Jr. And so the last thing this team needs is a point guard. So how, as a mock draft NBA expert, can you get paid to actually suggest that Chris Dunn should go number 3 to your Boston Celtics? It's just crazy. Anyways, I think what the Celtics should do, and if they don't go with a power forward, I think what they need to do is go with a shooting guard. And the guy I would go after would be Buddy Hield. And I know this feels like way too early for a lot of people, but did you see him play? Did you see him play in college? This is a guy, by the way, like Ben Simmons coming into the NBA is averaging like 18 points a game. Brandon Ingram, basically the same. Buddy Hield, 25 points a game. This kid can flat out shoot the rock. It's just unbelievable. He really can. He is a fantastic three-point shooter. He's exactly what the Celtics should pick. Sure, it's early at 3, but you're getting a guy that's going to probably score 20 points for you a game if you play him. And he's just aggressive, and he's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of fire. Man, if I'm the Celtics, I'm going with Buddy Hield at 3. As for the Phoenix Suns at 4, they have holes that have holes in them. And that's really all I can say as I'm wearing my Phoenix Suns colors apparently today. These are the old colors from like the 90s. Anyways, it's unbelievable. But so I think what they're going to do is they're going to go with Marquise Chris. And Marquise Chris wasn't even in the top 45 players in mock drafts about a month and a half ago. And he's worked out for a bunch of people, and he looks really good. He reminds me a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit. He's got some Kevin Durant in him. He's tall, he's lengthy, he can shoot the ball, and he just needs some help figuring out how to rebound. So there's some positioning things that they're going to have to do with this kid. I mean, he's not even 19 years old yet. Not even 19. But he'll probably go number 4. If I were Phoenix, I would take him because there's a lot of upside there. Okay, so after my Buddy Hield rant, you might imagine that for my Minnesota Timberwolves, that's right, my Minnesota Timberwolves, and you might be asking, hey, Dabbah, if you haven't followed the show, you might be wondering, how can you have 2 basketball teams which are your favorites? How does that happen, Dabbah? And I'll tell you, we made the move from Minnesota to Southern California before the Timberwolves were born. And I had a choice between the Clippers at the time and the Lakers. I had a choice between the Rams and the Raiders. I did not have a choice between the Kings and the Mighty Ducks because the Ducks hadn't been born yet. But that movie had come out. So I went Rams, Lakers. I mean, how could you not go Lakers? And then when the T-Wolves were born, I became a T-Wolf fan. And that is how I have 2 favorite National Basketball Association teams. Anyways, so Chris Dunn, the perfect point guard for this Minnesota Timberwolf team. In fact, Chris Dunn even came out this week and said he wants to play for Thibodeau. I mean, how many people actually say they want to play for a coach? If we could get Chris Dunn in Minnesota, things would be really good. Look, I'm not sure what we should do with Ricky Rubio at that point. I would think he would be traded or moved or something. But that being said, bring in Chris Dunn and to just let him play. Trust me, this kid is good. All right, North America, tell us what you think. Info at seat77.com.
And now, North America, it's time to get down and dirty for some hard-hitting, concussion-causing coverage of the National Football League. The sport that Dave is so passionate about that he hasn't missed a single play of a Minnesota Viking game for the past 16 years. Presented by Seat77.com. And now, back to the Dave Dabbah Big Show.
Okay, North America, just a couple quick National Football League stories for you today. By the way, 78 days away. Just 78 days away before we get to hear that new Carrie Underwood song. The countdown has begun. All right, 78 days away from the start of the National Football League season. Two stories for you. Going to start out with Joey Bosa. Yes, the Ohio State the I guy who got drafted by the San Diego Chargers with the third pick in this past National Football League draft. Okay, ridiculous. I'm going to start there. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so if you don't remember, the current CBA that the players signed limited contracts for rookie players. So basically, the rookie contracts are almost decided before they're signed. You basically know if you're a first or second or third, all the way down through the seventh round and free agency, what people are going to get paid. There's a couple little dollars here and there that can be played with. But Joey has decided to hold out. That's right. He's holding out. You never hear about holdouts with rookies anymore in the National Football League. And we actually have, if you didn't know, we actually have a holdout going on. And leave it to the Chargers to pick somebody that's actually going to hold out on them. Talk about an organization that is in flux. Are they in San Diego? Are they in LA? Do they have a head coach? Do they not? Do they have a winning team? Do they not have a winning team? I mean, this team is up and down every year. Since they were down last year, they'll probably be up this year. But Joey Bosa just laying down the gauntlet and holding out. It's unbelievable. So let me tell you why he's holding out. Now, it's a little technical. So at the end of his contract, so when you get into the last year of his contract, Joey is concerned that if he gets released by the Chargers, that he won't get paid for the end of his contract. And so if he gets picked up by another team, then he'll have to sign a new contract and he won't get what he was supposed to get from his rookie contract. Same thing with if he gets traded. Anyways, these kinds of clauses are they're terrible for people like you and me. But in the NFL, this is standard practice. This is a standard operating procedure. Very few players actually are able to kind of not have these types of statements laid into their contracts. Joey Bosa, let me tell you something right now, and this is just a piece of friendly advice. Look, do what you have to do, but let your play speak for it. In other words, do a good job on the field and you won't have to worry about the San Diego Chargers cutting you. If you play well, you won't get cut. If you play poorly, I don't blame them for cutting you. And I don't care if you're the third pick in the National Football League draft. It doesn't matter. Do you know how many quarterbacks were picked number one or were picked in the top 10 that didn't last more than 4 years in the National Football League? Jamarcus Russell. Do you have any idea? Like it's just the landscape is littered with players who don't make it in the National Football League. And I understand your concern, but do a good job on the field, and then that should be it. Look, if I'm the Chargers and this goes on for too much longer, I'm done. I literally, you know what? We don't have any place on our team for a guy that doesn't want to prove himself. Joey Bosa. All right. Tell me what you think about that. info@seat77.com. Okay. Real quick, reliving the 1987 AFC Championship game real quick for you. For those of you that weren't born or were too young to remember it, it was Ernest Biner. I think he started on like the 6 or the 7 yard line, if I remember correctly. There's about 1 minute and 15 seconds left in the game. He gets the ball from Bernie Kosar, who hands him the ball, and he rushes off to the left side, and he could see the end zone, and you could just see pay dirt. And if he scores, for all intents and purposes, the Browns are going to win the game. And he fumbles at the 1. He gets the ball knocked out, and he fumbles. And so Ernest Biner came out today, and he said, you know, the Cavs winning the NBA title still does not get me off the hook for the fumble. Look, of course it doesn't get you off the hook for the fumble, Ernest. I can't even believe you even entertained it, that if the Cavs won, you'd somehow be off the hook for the fumble. Look, you'll never be off the hook for the fumble. Only one thing in this world could get you off the hook for the fumble, and it's not going to happen. And that is a Browns Super Bowl champion. Look, you guys are at least 10 quarterbacks away from even getting close to having the ability to have a Super Bowl champion on your team. I mean, trust me, you are so far away, it is not even funny. Okay, so our last story of the day, and I have to tell you, we have something here in these here United States that people just really just dislike. And as much as the rest of the world likes it, people over the age of 40 still struggle with this, and that is soccer. There's a whole new generation of kids who grew up playing soccer, and soccer is really taking off in the U.S. For the baby boomers and the generation kind of below it, it's still a little hit or miss unless you've traveled to other countries and you experience soccer elsewhere around the world, or as they call it, the real football. That being said, we have tonight one of the rarest of rare occasions, an important USA soccer match between the U.S. and Argentina. 6 p.m. 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST. Tune in, North America. Support your team. Look, I don't think they're going to win, but I'm going to be watching. All right, North America, tell me what you think. Hey, listen, we're totally loving the YouTube channel. For the silent one, we'll be back for more a little bit later in the week. Anyways, for the silent one, I am Dave Dabbah, reminding you that not everyone can be a champion, Ron Rivera, but everyone can act like one can. And good luck, North America.